She became the woman who made the world laugh. But before the polka dots, before the chaos, and before the fame, there was a quiet man named Henry Durrell Ball. He was a telephone lineman who held his daughter only a handful of times. He never saw her first steps or heard her first laugh. He died when Lucille Ball was just 2.5 years old. Though his life was short, his absence became the silent force behind her ambition, her discipline, and her relentless drive to control her own destiny. Henry Durrell Ball was born in upstate New York in 1887. He wasn't famous or wealthy. He was a working man employed by the Bell Telephone Company, climbed poles in snow and rain to keep the lines connected. He married Dede Ball, and they built a simple life. On August 6, 1911, their first child was born, Lucille Ball. For a brief moment, their family was whole. Then, in the winter of 1915, everything changed. That year, typhoid fever swept through communities with little warning. Henry contracted the disease and grew weak. On February 19, 1915, at just 27 years old, he died, leaving Dede a widow with 2 young children. There was no life insurance, no safety net, just grief and the need to survive. Dede went to work doing whatever it took to keep food on the table. Little Lucy inherited her father's eyes, but only stories, a single photograph, and a deep, unspoken fear. Life can vanish in an instant. That fear never left her. As an adult, Lucille Ball became known not just for her comedy, but for her iron grip on control. She insisted on owning "I Love Lucy" because she knew studios could take everything away. She became president of Dede Productions because she refused to rely on anyone else. She saved every dollar and questioned every contract because she remembered what it felt like to lose everything. She rarely spoke of her father, but when she did, her voice softened. She said she felt she had to earn her place in the world because no one was going to hand her anything. That wasn't insecurity. It was wisdom inherited from loss. Lucy owned only one photograph of her father. In it, he's holding her as an infant, looking at the camera with quiet pride. She kept that photo on her dresser for her entire life. She once wrote, "I often wonder who I'd be if he'd lived. Would I still be funny? Or would I just be happy?" But perhaps the tragedy also gave her a fire, a focus, and a refusal to be a victim. Today, Henry Durrell Ball is honored quietly at the Lucille Ball Museum. His photo is displayed beside hers, reminding visitors that behind the laughter was a little girl who lost her father too soon. His death was a tragedy, but her response was a triumph. Lucy didn't just survive his absence. She built a world where she and her children would never be left behind. The next time you see Lucy on screen, remember the child who knew life was fragile and chose every day to live so loudly that no one would ever forget her. Thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe for more stories behind the legends.